Have you ever failed at something? Maybe you tried to start a business, or you worked really hard on a project, only to see it fall apart. Maybe you gave your best effort, but it just wasn't enough. And then came the disappointment, the frustration, and that voice inside your head saying, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Sound familiar? Well, here's the thing. Failure isn't the end of your story. It's actually the beginning. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll unlock the power of success. Wait, what? Failures lead to success? Asterisk, asterisk. I know, it sounds crazy, but stay with me for a second. Think about this. Some of the most successful people in the world today were once in your shoes. They failed, struggled, and doubted themselves. But instead of giving up, they used those failures to fuel their success. They turned those tough moments into the stepping stones that took them to where they are now. Take Thomas Edison, for example. You probably heard of him. He's the guy who invented the light bulb. But did you know he failed over 1,000 times before he finally got it right? In fact, when someone asked him how it felt to fail that many times, Edison responded, I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work. Now that's a mindset. Edison didn't see failure as a roadblock. He saw it as a lesson. Each failure taught him something new. And eventually, those lessons led him to create something that changed the world. So, when you fail, you're not starting from scratch. You're building on the foundation of everything you've learned along the way. Let's take a moment to dig into the science behind failure. Studies have shown that when we fail, our brains don't just shut down. In fact, failing triggers a response that can actually make us smarter. You see, when we experience failure, the brain creates new connections, helping us solve problems and think more creatively. It's like the brain's way of saying, okay, let's try something different. But here's the twist. If you're afraid to fail, you're actually blocking this process. Fear of failure keeps you in your comfort zone, where your brain is less likely to stretch and grow. So, what's the solution? Embrace failure, learn from it, and use it as a springboard to take that next leap toward success. Okay, let's get real for a second. Failure isn't just about big, world-changing inventions like the light bulb. It happens every day in the smallest moments. Maybe you failed at a workout routine, or your business idea didn't take off, or you didn't get the job you wanted. But here's the thing. Each time you fail, you're learning something valuable. Let's say you started a fitness journey. Maybe you stuck to your routine for a week, and then, boom, you missed a few days. You feel guilty, frustrated. But here's the key. Instead of beating yourself up, ask yourself what went wrong. Was it your routine? Your mindset? Your environment? Learning from your mistakes will make you stronger, and the next time you try, you'll be more prepared. Think about it. If you never failed, how would you ever know what works and what doesn't? Failure teaches you how to adapt, how to refine your approach, and how to push through challenges. Every successful person has gone through failure, but it's how they react to it that sets them apart. You're probably wondering, but how do I deal with the pain of failure? How do I get back up when everything seems to be going wrong? That's a great question. And here's the answer. Start by reframing how you view failure. Instead of seeing failure as a setback, see it as a lesson. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, think about what you learned. Every time you fail, you gather information that can make you better. So, get curious about your failures. Ask questions, find patterns, and use that knowledge to try again, but smarter this time. Think about failure like a map. If you're lost and you keep walking in the wrong direction, each wrong turn isn't a failure. It's feedback telling you, hey, you're not going the right way. But if you keep going and adjust your path, eventually, you'll find your way. Let's talk about some famous failures that turned into huge successes. Ever heard of Steve Jobs? He was fired from Apple, the very company he founded, but instead of quitting, he used that failure to create some of the most innovative products the world has ever seen. Steve Jobs didn't just bounce back. He came back stronger. He took what he learned from his failures and revolutionized the tech world. Then there's J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Before her books became a global phenomenon, she was rejected by over a dozen publishers. Imagine that. Her ideas were turned down time and time again. But instead of giving up, she kept writing. And now, Harry Potter is a household name. If those stories don't show you the power of failure, I don't know what will. So, the next time you face failure, don't freak out. Instead, take a deep breath and remind yourself that this is just a part of your success story. Each time you fail, you're one step closer to figuring out what works. Embrace failure because it's a sign that you're growing. And who knows, your biggest failure might just be the beginning of your greatest success. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more motivation and success tips. Let's turn our failures into fuel for success together.